Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ignorant Intellectual on Media. I'm your host, Scott, or the Ignorant Intellectual, and today I thought we would do a private sale haul where I made two purchases, extremely good purchases. You'll know that after I show you everything that I've bought. I thought I'd do this quickly because I did a previous video on how to collect physical media on a budget, where I explained to people how they could amass a really good physical media library on $100 or less dollars a month. And if they wanted to do a bit of work, they could actually get it all for free. All right, so um, refer back to that video, and you'll understand this video a little bit more if you do so. But you don't really need to watch that video. It's called, as I said, it's called collecting physical media on a budget. Um, but I'm going to refer to that video occasionally in this video because I want to show a point. Okay, so all right, um, so in that video, I said you could amass a very good library on $100 or less a month, but you would need to make DVD your friend, buy used and not new, and go around to the thrift stores, not just go online on let's say Facebook Marketplace to find the things that you want to buy. All right. So now you don't have to do that. If you have $100, you can buy things new, but you're not going to be able to get very many items. So it probably won't be able to satisfy your crave of watching a movie for a month, if you want to put it that way. If you're only buying 2 or 3 items a month to watch, right? So if you buy used and buy DVDs, because those are the least expensive things, you can create a massive library of every film that you really like to watch. Now, some of the DVDs have been put on Blu-ray, and you can find Blu-rays um, for a reasonable price as well. So you can collect Blu-rays and DVDs if you wish, but obviously DVDs are going to come at a lower cost than a Blu-ray, right? So, um, but buying used is the main secret, and make DVD your friend is another one. But anyway, so all of this. So I thought I'd and then at the end of that video, I stated that you could do it all for free if when you go out searching for your physical library, to add to your physical library, you look for things that you can resell, um, and then you can create some wealth in this, and use that money um, to augment your movie collecting, right? So let's say you buy something, you find it really cheap, it's underpriced, and you can sell it for a higher price. Maybe you buy it for 2 and you sell it for 8, and that gives you $6 that you can put away to buy other things that you want to buy, or buy things that you're going to resell again, right? Anyway, so the point of doing that is so that when certain opportunities come up, all right. So for me, one huge opportunity was back in December of 2021, where I bought a gentleman's physical media library for $600, which included between 1,500 and 2,000 films, including 400 Criterion Collection films and a whole bunch of other um, boutique cinema label stuff. And you can find it. I don't know if you, that might be a deal of a lifetime that I got it, because it means that I picked up a bunch of, Criterions for less than $1 each. And, things like Arrow Video, or Indicator, or the Masters of Cinema, or Eureka, or BFI, all this stuff this gentleman had, right? So, but you can, and there was another time I also explained where I ended up picking up like 10 Blu-ray steelbooks of the Studio Ghibli films. Like there's a series of Studio Ghibli films put out on nice Blu-ray steelbooks, and I'm not sure if they have all 22. I think it's 22 films that Studio Ghibli has put out. I'm not sure if all 22 of them are in that library, but I bought 10 of them for like $20. So so you can find things at reasonable cost. So this is another example of that. Okay, so if you've taken my advice and you've started searching around, making DVD your friend, buying used and not new, selling things that you find when you're looking for things to add to your physical library to resell, and then reselling those and building up a bit of a little bit of a pot of money that you can use to spend. This is something that would become available to you, and then you can afford it, because that's how I did it. So I had about $240 that I built up from reselling things and buying and reselling things. I built up a bit of a nest egg, I guess you could say, that I'm waiting for a really good purchase to come along, and was this purchase. So here, this is what I ended up getting for $180, which ended up turning it to being about $9 for each item of this, maybe 10, but uh, I think more than 9. Anyway, so um, anyways, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, and this is what you're looking for when you are doing that work to add things to your library. So you're gonna have DVDs and maybe you have some Blu-rays as well, because you can't find Blu-rays for a few dollars each, but um, you're gonna have a lot of DVDs. But what you can do when you're making your library is, remember, access is better than format. Okay, that's what another thing that I stated in that video. Access is better than format. All right. So, an access to a film, if you don't have that film, you can't watch it, right? So, if you like that film and you can't watch it, well, that's kind of a bummer, isn't it? That's kind of disappointing. So, if the only way that you can find it at a reasonable cost is on a DVD, then have it on the DVD and you can watch it. Now you can enjoy the film greatly, right? And if you come across a reasonably priced Blu-ray, then you can upgrade from your DVD to your Blu-ray. But at least you have access to it on DVD that you can watch it. If are in the mood to watch that film, you can watch it, right? And if you just happen to find a Blu-ray at a price that you can afford, and then buy the Blu-ray, and then you can upgrade it from a DVD to a Blu-ray, right? Uh, and that's what you do. And slowly but surely, you're going to find things that originally you have on DVD that you're going to find on Blu-ray, or you're going to find um, on, let's say, a boutique cinema Blu-ray or a 4K that comes along, and you have made some savings because you have resold things to build up a bit of a nest egg to make a purchase um, that usually you wouldn't be able to afford, right? Okay, so that's what I did. I usually not be able to afford, but the last few months, um, I've built up some savings from selling things, and I came across two ads. One ad was, well, I'll show you anyways. All right, so I ended up buying 19 items for $160. I'm not sure how much that would be. That would be around between $8 and $9 each. So I got all these items for less than $9 each. Okay, all right. So the first one I'll show you is A Quiet Place on Steelbook, Steelbook Blu-ray and 4K. All right. Now, I don't have a 4K player and I don't have a 4K TV, so I can't watch the 4K, but I collect DVDs to watch on I transfer them and I watch them on my laptop. And then I have the Blu-ray player that I can watch the Blu-ray. So this is a Blu-ray 4K Ultra HD version of the John Krasinski. Remember John Krasinski from The Office? This is one of the films that he did after The Office, and this is called A Quiet Place. It's a horror about them living in a alternate or a future world where there's these monsters around that can track you by sound. So you have to live your life without making any sound. All right, so it's pretty interesting. It was a pretty good hit in the theaters, and this is a very nice 4K uh, steelbook, and I got it for like $8. All right, so that's number one. All right, next up is 4K Blu-ray Ultra HD steelbook of the original Halloween, again for $8. If you haven't watched the original Halloween, well, I guess Black Christmas is probably the main. I mean, you can even go back to Psycho, I guess, and say that that was the beginning of the slasher, because um, he dressed up as a mother and he had a big knife and he killed the girl in the shower. So I guess you could call that a slasher film. But mainly, people refer to Black Christmas, the Canadian film directed by Bob Clark, as the beginnings of the slasher genre that became huge in the late '70s, all the way through the '80s, and even up to now. But when Halloween was the main beginning of it after Black Christmas. So Michael Myers and Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis, and a beautiful 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo. All right, and I got it for $8 or $9. Okay. All right. Next up is Evil Dead. All right. the first of the trilogy, the Evil Dead trilogy, where you had Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. This is the first one. Again, on a Blu-ray steelbook, really nice. If you haven't seen this film, that series of film, those three films are very fun to watch. All right, they got a humor in it, uh, plus the horror. Right, so it's one of the great franchises, horror franchises of all time, is the Evil Dead franchise. So this is the first film. All right, on steelbook. All right. Next up is It. Um, I think this is the miniseries, isn't it? On 4K Ultra HD. And of course, I can't watch this because there's no Blu-ray to it. It's only 4K Ultra HD. So I'll, in the future when prices come down, I'll end up when I need a new TV, I'll buy a 4K TV. When need a new player, I'll buy a 4K Blu-ray player, right? And then I'll actually watch this. Although this isn't a, I'm not a big fan of this or it actually the book itself. Kind of the way Stephen King wrote that book kind of turned me off on Stephen King actually. So anyways, so next up, so that was a Steelbook 4K HD, um, Ultra HD of It. All right. Next up is a Steelbook of The Witch. All right, which came out in 2016. It's about a family whose son um, gets lost, and they blame this woman for being a witch and kidnapping him. Anyways, it's pretty interesting. Got a lot of gothic features in it, and so on and so forth. So those are the steel books that I got. So I got one, two, three, four, five really nice steel books, either in 4K or Blu-ray. All right. Um, Next up is Fulci's Lucio Fulci's House by the Cemetery. Fulci is one of the great Italian exploitation horror directors, and this is a good film from him. This came from the boutique cinema label Blue Underground, and it's a really nice version of it. It's got a nice slipcase to it. All right, a nice booklet, 2 discs. Actually, it's a 3 disc limited edition. So there's 3 discs in there. One's under the other one, right? So basically, um, if you haven't watched any of Fulci's stuff, you should look out for him and pick him up. His stuff is pretty brutal, right? So, all right. After that is the Canadian film on Blu-ray with a nice slipcase as well. And this one is from Severin, all right. And this stars George C. Scott. Got a nice slipcase to it. All right. Got it for all these. Got it for $8 or $9, right? So this is the reason why um, I suggest that when you're looking for stuff for your own personal collection, you resell some stuff, and it'll give you. If you only have like a budget of $100, um, you wouldn't be able to afford to buy these when the chances come along where you can buy them, pick them up pretty cheaply, right? So, um, so that's the Changeling. Then you got the 35th anniversary edition of Alien. All right. The box is a bit flimsy. You got it on Blu-ray and digital, and you got another edition, this which has a bunch of cards inside of it. All right, and a booklet. Okay, so you got the illustrated story, which is basically a comic book. All right, and you got a bunch of postcards. All right, so that's pretty cool. They don't make it easy to put these back together though, so you got to be careful with it, otherwise you damage it. It's already a bit damaged now. And I'll put this aside for now, so I'm not taking up your time. All right. All right. Next up is Scream Factory's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. All right. Starring Dennis Hopper. This is pretty good. It's not as good as the first one, but it's pretty good. It's like uh, Dennis Hopper's pretty cool in this film. So, all right. Got a nice slipcase to it. All right. Next up after that is the Funhouse. Another nice slipcase cover. I don't know much about the Funhouse, but it's by Toby Hooper, who did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it's probably pretty good. I know it's about like a group of teenagers that witness a murder or something along those lines, and they're at like a carnival, and then they end up hiding from the killer in the Funhouse section of the carnival. Um, Next up is the collector's edition of Species. I really enjoyed this film. The sequels to them, not so much, but I really like this film. If I remember correctly, what's her name? What's this girl's name? Natasha Hendridge? I think it's Natasha Hendridge, isn't it? Directed by production of Ronald Donaldson, starring Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Alfred Molina, Forrest Whitaker, Marge Hegelberger, and introducing Natasha Hendridge. I think she's Canadian, actually. She was a Canadian model, and they got her for her looks, I guess, for this film. Anyways, it's about an alien. Next up is the Arrow edition of Slug, special edition, Blu-ray. All right, it's got the booklet, it's got the disc. Don't know if this came with a slip cover, but there was no slip cover when I bought it off the guy. So Slug's pretty gross film um, about slugs that are growing in underneath the town in their sewers, and they come up and start eating people. All right, and a really beautiful edition of Children of the Corn. All right, and a nice slipcase. This is from Arrow as well. Got the booklet and the disc. And Children of the Corn was one of my favorite horror films when I was growing up. When first time I saw it was I was in my 20s. I went, wow, that's really freaky, because you never think of children, trying to hunt you down and kill you. You know what I mean? It's pretty wicked stuff, let's say. All right, and then the collector's edition from Scream Factory of Child's Play. All right, the nice slip cover. All right, 2 discs. All right. So a lot of these movies I have, not all of them, but for example, I have this one, and I have this one, and I have this one. All right, all on DVD, right? So I'm going to upgrade them, right? So that's what you can do if you end up, saving up some money, and you come along with the deal. So you don't necessarily, if you want to get something, you don't necessarily have to buy it new, right? Do you understand? You can buy it used. You just have a bit of patience, and something comes along. All right. So here's another really freaky horror film. I don't know much about it. The Curse of Dr. Wolfenstein. All right. And this one is about a doctor who ends up creating a formula that gives him eternal life, but also causes like his skin to die and fall off, like a what they called it? Necrosis of his skin. So he has to kill people to get their body parts or whatever, right? Anyways, it's a pretty gross film from my understanding. Anyways, so that one on a nice Blu-ray with a nice slipcover. And then the remake of Wrong Turn. This is supposed to be actually a pretty good film, starring Charlotte Vega and Matthew Modine. Um, it's like a reboot of that franchise. Um, so I have not watched it, so I'll give it a watch. It's in a nice slipcover. All right. So this is probably the least. Like I probably, if this was being sold on its own for like the $8 or $9, but because he was asking 160 for all these films, right? And then, of course, this thing doesn't go on right afterwards. All right, so, and now the cream of the crop, other than those Blu-rays, is a nice Arrow version of The Hills Have Eyes in a nice thick box set. All right, has a booklet inside and has the Blu-ray, if it would come out, anyways. There we go. And the posters. So you have the Blu-ray. You get these posters. Man, I'm getting old. I can't hold on to anything. Right, so that's kind of cool. Um, you get the booklet. All right. So cards, a booklet, and then really one of the large posters, right? So poster, the booklet, some postcards, and of course the movie, right? So in a nice. So this was the limited edition version of it when it first came out. So I don't know, man. This is like really difficult to put in properly, so don't want to damage it. All right, so that's that one. I'll put it all together afterwards. Okay, so next up is the limited edition Arrow of An American Werewolf in London. All right, in a nice hard case again. All right, this one at least comes out easier. You got the booklet, nice booklet. The Blu-ray. It's got a reversible cover as well. All right, so you have that version of it, which is the Arrow version, or you can have the original version of the film. And you got a bunch of postcards again inside, and the large theatrical poster, right? So you got all the things that you did with The Hills Have Eyes. See if this one fits in easier. And this, if I was to, okay, my opinion, the greatest horror film of all time is The Exorcist. But if somebody was to argue that this is the greatest horror film of all time, I would have a hard time arguing with them because I really love this film as well. This is an awesome film. If you have not watched this film, watch this film, okay? It's an extremely good film. It's probably the best werewolf film of all time. All right, so that's An American Werewolf in London. All right, and lastly, that I got off this guy is another nice limited edition of The Last House on the Left by Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. All right, and again, you got the booklet. All right, you got the theatrical poster. I'm not going to open it up all the way, but you get the idea. Probably hang that on the wall if you want. Put it in a frame. And you got the postcards. And one, two. This is a 3-disc set. All right, so this is all right. You got that version of it, and then you got a reversible cover of it if you want to do this version of it, right? So, so I have this film. I have American Werewolf in London, and I have this film, The Hills Have Eyes, all on DVD. So now I can upgrade them to Blu-ray, and that's half the fun of when you're collecting, right? You want access to the films, you want access to them, right? But uh, you know, you're not going to just keep the DVD if you can find a Blu-ray of it, right? And if you can find the Blu-ray for a reasonable cost, you're going to buy it, right? But this, you know, these for $8 each, $9 each, extremely good deal. So what do you do with this afterwards? Well, you want to protect it to keep it nice, right? So you just put it. I'm going to be putting them all, hopefully without breaking them all, in a bag to protect them, right? So that's the first one. So this gentleman's big on horror. I asked him why he was selling it. Was he getting out of physical media? Because these are really nice editions of things that he could sell for a higher price, but he wanted to get rid of them. So I picked up all 19 titles for $160, which ends up being less than $9 each, right? Um, which is a very good price. All right. So if you have that 160, which I did because I had about 250 saved up from reselling stuff, right? Like I mentioned in that previous video that I was talking about. And so it gave me the ability to buy this because I never go into debt. I don't go into debt for a hobby. Do not go into debt for a hobby. I can't stress that enough. It will lessen your enjoyment of the hobby when you start becoming stressed because of credit card bills and things like that, right? So don't go into debt. Just I mean, if I didn't have the money for this, I would have not bought it. All right. And I would have been okay with that. All right. So, but if you're not okay and then you go, you know, go to the bank machine or whatever and take money out of your credit card and then you're going to get charged 25% interest off that cash removal. And then you're going to go buy this. It kind of half kills the reason why you're buying it, which is to save money, right? You know what I mean? So if you're going into debt to buy things at a cheaper rate, then you're not really getting them at the rate that you're buying them for, right? So anyway, so that was uh, the first one. The second one is I picked up this nice edition of the Lord of the Rings extended edition, the extended edition on Blu-ray. All right, I got this for $20. All right, so there's a booklet in every one of them, and one, two, three, four discs. All right, four discs, the booklet, and four discs. But I don't know why they put them in black. Why did they put them in black? It confuses it because when you look at black, you think they're 4Ks, right? But it doesn't say 4K on it or anything. But whenever you get, you know, the Blu-ray thing is blue, then you know it's a Blu-ray. And if it's black, you know, it's a 4K, right? But I guess it matched the aesthetic of the collection or whatever, right? So basically, get all three of them in a nice box with, you know, like four discs in each one, the extended versions of the film. Um, now this, I have this on DVD and Blu-ray already, and then I just picked up recently the extended editions on DVD in that nice three-volume box set. You know, one's gold, one's blue, and one's green. Uh, um, that one. So now with the extended versions, I'm going to watch the extended versions. If the extended versions are worth the extra, you know, sometimes it's over 30 minutes of extra stuff on it, and the films, you know, are over. I think they're over 3 hours long already, right? So adding another 30 minutes or an hour to the film, is it going to add anything to it? Because when I watched the non-extended versions of them, I followed the story quite fine, right? And I'm not sure what adding more stuff to it will it enhance the film enough, you know, to be watching that film all afternoon. Anyway, so um, but I got the extended edition on Blu-ray for $20. So altogether, I got these 22 films for $180. So I'm not sure what is that. 22 films for 180. If I got them for $10 each, it'd be 220. So I got them for less. So yeah, between 8 and 9 probably. Uh, Maybe $9 each. So not too bad, especially the nice Arrow limited edition horror films will be great to add to my collection. All right, so that's the uh, that's the private sale haul that I just did recently in the last couple of days, and I got some really good stuff for a reasonable price. All this stuff is worth $8 or less, and a lot of it's worth more than $8. So this is what you're looking for um, if you can't afford to buy things new. Like if I was to go on the Arrow website and buy the things that I want off the Arrow website of the films I want, I would be spending thousands of dollars, every month, right? And I do not have $1,000 every month. I may have $100, but the way I do it when I buy and resell stuff as well as add to my collection, I can't afford every once in a while to buy a film new. Every once in a while, have enough money so that when something like this comes across my path, I have the cash to actually take advantage of it, right? So, like I said, if I was to go on the Arrow website to buy this, it would probably be what, like $50, maybe more, maybe 60. I don't know. I'd have to look, but I got it for like $8 or $9, right? That's what you're looking for when you're buying. So you're still going to make DVD your friend if you're collecting on a budget of $100 or less, because a lot of the titles that you want to watch will be on DVD. But if you want to get it on a nice Blu-ray, you may have to buy this, and this is like extremely expensive, right? And you won't have the money to do it. So make DVD your friend. If you can find stuff on Blu-ray for a reasonable cost, like you did with the DVD, upgrade. And every once in a while, when you do come across a person um, getting rid of parts of their library and they're putting it at a really cut low type of price, then you can take advantage of it and pick those up, and now you have The Last House on the left, or you have An American Werewolf in London on a nice boutique cinema Blu-ray, right? So um, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, leave a thumbs up. If you wish to subscribe, I'd appreciate it, and I will talk to you again in the near future. And you have a good day, and bye for now.